Picture this. You go to bed with 1 million in Luna tokens. You wake up, check your phone, and your portfolio is worth $1,000. Not a typo. $1,000. Your $1 million investment lost 99.9% of its value while you slept. This wasn't a nightmare. This was May 2022, when Do Kwon's algorithmic empire collapsed faster than anyone thought possible. In 48 hours, 60 billion evaporated. Life savings vanished. Suicide hotlines were flooded. And the man who'd promised an unbreakable system was nowhere to be found. This is the story of Luna Terra, where $1 million became pocket change overnight, and the crypto world learned that some algorithms are too clever for their own good. Let's rewind to understand how we got here. The year is 2018, and a 27-year-old South Korean entrepreneur named Do Kwon is about to change the crypto world. Or so he thinks. Do wasn't your typical blockchain bro. He was Stanford educated, sharp-tongued, and had a chip on his shoulder the size of Seoul. Born in 1991 in South Korea, Do was a prodigy from the start. He excelled in school, winning coding competitions and math Olympiads. His parents, middle-class professionals, pushed him toward success, and he delivered. Stanford came calling, where he studied computer science and graduated in 2015. Before the ink dried on his diploma, he landed jobs at Microsoft and Apple. But corporate life stifled him. Meetings, reports, hierarchies. Do wanted more. He wanted to build something, leave a mark, become a legend. In 2016, he quit and dove into the startup world. His first venture, Anyfi, a wireless mesh network project, failed. Investors weren't interested. Users didn't come. But Do didn't quit, because he'd found his next big idea: stablecoins. Bitcoin and Ethereum's biggest problem was volatility. They could swing 20% in a day. How could crypto become real money if nobody knew what it would be worth tomorrow? Do's answer was Terra, a blockchain designed around stablecoins. Not the boring kind backed by dollars in a bank vault like Tether or USDC. No, Do wanted something pure, something algorithmic. His stablecoin, called UST, would be pegged to the dollar through code alone. The mechanism was elegant, almost beautiful. UST would maintain its $1 peg through arbitrage with Luna, Terra's native token. If UST traded above $1, users could burn $1 worth of Luna to mint 1 UST, pocketing the difference. If UST fell below $1, they could burn 1 UST to mint $1 worth of Luna. In theory, this created endless buying and selling pressure that would keep UST stable. No banks, no reserves, just math and market forces. It was DeFi at its purest, a middle finger to traditional finance. The Terra blockchain launched in 2019, but it took time to gain traction. Do and his team, including co-founder Daniel Shin, started building applications on Terra. Their first big hit was Chai, a payments app in South Korea that let users pay with Terra stablecoins. By 2020, Chai had millions of users, and Terra was processing more transactions than many established blockchains. The Korean market loved it. Paying for coffee with crypto wasn't just possible, it was easy. But Do's real breakthrough came in 2021 with Anchor Protocol, a savings product that offered 20% annual yields on UST deposits. Let that sink in. 20%. When your bank savings account pays 0.1%, Anchor was offering 20%. It was too good to be true, except it wasn't. At least not yet. How did Anchor afford such yields? The short answer: it couldn't. Anchor's returns came from Luna token emissions and borrower interest, but those sources never covered the full 20%. The protocol was essentially subsidizing yields, paying out more than it earned to attract users. Do knew this. His team knew this. But they also knew that growth was the priority. Get users in, get TVL up, worry about sustainability later. And it worked. By early 2022, Anchor had over 14 billion locked in the protocol, making it one of DeFi's largest applications. UST's market cap hit $18 billion, and Luna tokens soared past $100, giving the ecosystem a total value of over $40 billion. Venture capitalists couldn't throw money fast enough. Galaxy Digital, Pantera Capital, Lightspeed Venture Partners, they all bought in. Even Jump Crypto, a trading firm known for its risk management, became a major backer. Do raised hundreds of millions, and his confidence swelled. He started tweeting provocatively, mocking critics who questioned his system. When economist Francis Coppola called algorithmic stablecoins financial nihilism, Do replied with a laughing emoji. When another skeptic warned about death spirals, Do offered to bet $1 million that UST wouldn't break its peg. His followers loved it. He wasn't just building a protocol, he was building a cult of personality. But beneath the bravado, cracks were forming. The first came in May 2021, when a smaller algorithmic stablecoin called Iron Finance collapsed in what's now known as a bank run. Iron's token went to zero in hours, wiping out millions. The collapse followed the exact death spiral pattern that critics warned Terra about. If confidence breaks, if too many people try to exit at once, the arbitrage mechanism becomes a trap. Selling UST for Luna floods the market with Luna tokens, crashing Luna's price. As Luna crashes, it takes more Luna to back each UST, accelerating the spiral. It's a mathematical execution, and once it starts, it's nearly impossible to stop. Do dismissed the comparison. Terra wasn't Iron Finance, he insisted. Terra had a larger ecosystem, more liquidity and actual use cases. Plus, he had a secret weapon, the Luna Foundation Guard, or LFG. In early 2022, Do announced that LFG would build a Bitcoin reserve to defend UST's peg. The idea was simple. If UST started to break, LFG would sell Bitcoin to buy UST, providing buying pressure. Do raised $1 billion for the reserve, then $1.5 billion, eventually accumulating over 80,000 Bitcoin worth roughly $3 billion. Critics called it a band-aid on a broken system. Do called it game theory perfection. The stage was set for catastrophe, but nobody knew it yet. By April 2022, Terra was flying high. Luna hit an all-time high of $119, giving it a market cap of over $40 billion. UST was the third largest stablecoin, trailing only Tether and USDC. Major protocols were integrating Terra. Exchanges listed Luna in their top tiers. Do was planning a conference in Singapore, where he'd unveil new partnerships and products. The Terra ecosystem seemed unstoppable, but in crypto nothing lasts forever. The first domino fell on May 7, 2022. Someone, and to this day we don't know who, dumped $350 million worth of UST on Curve Finance, a decentralized exchange. The sale was too large for Curve's liquidity pool to absorb, and UST's price slipped to $0.98. At first, no panic, just concern. UST had lost its peg before and always recovered, but this time was different. LFG started selling Bitcoin, $1.5 billion worth in the first day, but it wasn't enough. UST fell to 0.95, then 0.90. The arbitrage mechanism was reversing. Users panicked and started swapping UST for Luna, but each swap minted new Luna, inflating the supply. Luna's price started dropping. May 8th, $80 to $60. May 9th, $60 to $30. May 10th, $30 to $10. The death spiral had begun, and nothing could stop it. Do was silent on Twitter. LFG held emergency meetings. Exchanges suspended trading. The $14 billion in Anchor drained to $2 billion in a day. Everyone was running for the exits, but the exits weren't big enough. May 11th, Luna was at $1. May 12th, 0.10. May 13th, 0.01. Yes, 1/10,000th of a cent. A portfolio worth $1 million in the morning was worth $100 in the evening. $100. The cost of a nice dinner. People were screaming as their life savings evaporated before their eyes. Social media was a hellscape. The Terra subreddit on Reddit filled with suicide messages. Moderators desperately posted suicide prevention hotline numbers. One user wrote about losing his entire retirement savings. $800,000. Another lost her house down payment. $200,000. A third lost his college fund. $50,000. The real losses weren't just numbers. They were people. In South Korea, an investor committed suicide. He left a goodbye note on social media. Do Kwon ruined me. There were other stories, but families requested privacy. The pain was real. The losses were real. And nobody was being held accountable. Where was Do Kwon? In the first days of the collapse, he posted a few tweets. No apologies, no explanations, just vague words. We're aware of the situation. The team is working on a solution. But no solution came. Because there was no solution. The math was ruthless. On May 13th, the Terra blockchain was halted. Developers decided to stop new transactions because Luna's supply had reached 6.5 trillion. Trillions. A token that once had a max supply of 400 million was now minting trillions. This was hyperinflation, Weimar Germany style but digital. Do proposed a rescue plan, Terra 2.0, a new blockchain, new tokens, abandoned the old UST and Luna. The community was furious. "You're running from your problems," they said. "You're abandoning investors," but Do insisted. On May 27th, Terra 2.0 launched. Nobody cared. The new tokens were worthless, the old trust was gone. Then the legal problems began. In June 2022, South Korean prosecutors opened an investigation into Do Kwon. Charges: fraud, market manipulation, embezzlement. The US SEC opened an inquiry. Investors filed lawsuits. The amounts ran into billions. Do was in Singapore, or Dubai, or Serbia. Nobody was sure. He went silent on Twitter, stopped public appearances, canceled all conference talks. The man had vanished, but the legacy remained. In September 2022, Interpol issued a red notice for Do Kwon, an international arrest warrant for 195 countries. Charges expanded globally. South Korea, America, Singapore, everyone wanted him. The reward was 10 million. Do Kwon had become one of the world's most wanted tech fugitives. March 2023, a break in Montenegro. He was caught at Podgorica airport with a fake passport, trying to travel to Costa Rica. The passport was Belgian, but fake. Good fake, but still fake. Do and an associate were arrested. Here it was, the fall of the once crypto genius. The arrest created a global tug-of-war. South Korea wanted him. America wanted him. Both filed extradition requests. Montenegro courts had to decide. Hearings went on for months. Do's lawyers argued he'd face unfair trials in both countries. Prosecutors argued he needed to answer to his investors. November 2023. Montenegro court ruled in favor of America. Do would be extradited to the United States. But February 2024, South Korea appealed and the decision was reversed. As of March 2024, Do remains in a Podgorica prison, uncertain which country he'll go to. The legal battle continues. Luna's collapse wasn't just one project, it was a turning point. In the weeks following the crash, crypto markets bled. Bitcoin fell from $30,000 to $20,000. Ethereum from $2,000 to $1,000. Total market cap lost $1 trillion, but the real damage was trust. If Luna could fail, what else could? Investors began fleeing DeFi. TVL crashed across all protocols. Lending platforms went bankrupt. Celsius Network, with $20 billion in assets, filed for bankruptcy in July 2022. Three Arrows Capital, a hedge fund once managing $10 billion, collapsed in June. Voyager Digital, an exchange with 5 million users, went under. Then November 2022 brought FTX. Sam Bankman-Fried's $32 billion empire collapsed in a week. The connection? FTX had been heavily exposed to Terra. Luna's crash had opened a $1 billion hole in FTX's balance sheet. That hole contributed to the larger collapse in November. Regulators took note. The US SEC began filing lawsuits against crypto exchanges. Europe passed MiCA, comprehensive crypto regulations. South Korea banned algorithmic stablecoins. Japan implemented stricter rules. Luna became a case study why regulation was necessary. Beyond the numbers were people. Real people with real losses. Take Michael, a 40-year-old software engineer. He lived in Austin, Texas with his wife and 2 kids. In March 2022, he moved 80% of his retirement IRA into Luna and UST, $600,000. He saw Anchor's 20% and thought opportunity. May 13th, it was worth $12,000. Michael's wife, Sarah, filed for divorce. The kids' college funds were gone. The retirement plan was destroyed. Michael wrote on Reddit, "I lost my family. I lost my future. I lost everything." He considered suicide but found support. Today he's rebuilding, but the wound is deep. Or take Yuna, a 28-year-old teacher in Seoul. She'd invested her first home's down payment into Luna, $200,000. In South Korea, housing prices were astronomical, and she saw a chance. May 13th, it was worth $2,000. Yuna moved back with her parents. She fell into depression. Now she's warning others on social media. Don't invest what you can't afford to lose. Or David and Margaret, a retired couple in Australia. In their 70s, living on a fixed income, a finance YouTuber was praising Anchor's 20%. It seemed safe, steady returns. They invested $300,000, their entire retirement savings. May 13th, it was worth $3,000. Now they're working part-time, making ends meet. Retirement dreams gone. These stories number in the thousands, tens of thousands. But they all share one thing: they trusted a vision. They trusted the math. And they were ruined. So what actually went wrong? Technically, Luna failed due to something called reflexivity, a concept popularized by George Soros. Here's how it worked. Stage 1. UST loses its peg slightly, drops to 0.98. Stage 2. Panicked users swap UST for Luna. Stage 3. New Luna minting increases supply, lowers price. Stage 4. Lower Luna price makes UST less secure. Stage 5. More users panic and swap UST. Repeat. This is a feedback loop, recursive and accelerating. Once it starts, it doesn't stop. It happened with Iron Finance. It happened with Basis Cash. And it happened with Luna. The difference was Luna's scale. The bigger it grew, the harder it fell. Could the Bitcoin reserve have helped? Theoretically, yes. But practically, no. LFG had $3 billion, but UST's market cap was $18 billion. If everyone tried to exit at once, $3 billion was a drop. It was like trying to put out a forest fire with a beer glass. In hindsight, the signs were everywhere. Anchor's unsustainable yields, the over-connected ecosystem, LFG's insufficient reserves, Do's arrogant behavior. But nobody listened. Because everyone was making money, until they weren't. An economist would call this a Minsky moment. Everything seems fine, then suddenly it's not. A physicist would call it a phase transition. Solid turns to liquid in an instant. Luna was exactly that. From $80 to 0,001 wars in 5 days. What is Do Kwon today? A fraud, a visionary, a victim? Your opinion likely depends on whether you lost money. To investors, a monster. To followers, a hero. To regulators, a case study. Do's Twitter history is a study. March 2022, he tweeted, "If you're skeptical, here's my answer. Trust me, bro." April, have fun staying poor. May 6th, a day before the collapse. Will it depeg? No. May 13th. I'm sorry to everyone. That was it. Did Do intend to defraud, or did he simply get it wrong? Some argue it was a Ponzi scheme. They point to Anchor's unsustainable yields, LFG's sketchy Bitcoin buys, Do's early cash-outs. Others say it was a real product, just poorly designed. The math worked until it didn't. The truth is probably in between. Do wasn't a scammer, but he was a victim of hubris. He built a system because it was impossible and refused to consider failure. Classic Greek tragedy. Our hero flies too high and the sun melts his wings. An interesting detail. Do's Stanford thesis was on algorithmic stablecoins. Title: Ensuring Stability in Decentralized Finance Protocols. Conclusion: with careful design, algorithmic stablecoins can remain stable. Well, no, they can't. Luna's collapse split crypto history into two: before and after. Before: excitement, speculation, number go up mentality. After: caution, skepticism. How is this not a scam? Question: algorithmic stablecoins are dead. A few still exist, but none have TVL. Investors avoid them. Regulators ban them. The concept is poisoned. Maybe one day someone will find the right design, but Luna's legacy will cast a shadow for years. DeFi yields took a hit too. 20% APY? Red flag. 10%? Suspicious. Now even 5% is questionable. Users ask, where's it coming from? Is it sustainable? Or is it another Luna? Trust once broken takes years to rebuild. Venture capital changed too. Once VCs threw hundreds of millions at Terra, with little due diligence. Now they're more careful. They scrutinize tokenomics, demand stress tests, require sustainability plans. Luna taught them an expensive lesson, but the biggest impact was on retail investors. Average people had entered crypto for the promise of wealth. Luna showed them something different. Rapid catastrophe. Many left crypto entirely. Once burned, never again, they said. Who can blame them? Luna's collapse gave regulators ammunition. For years they'd been saying crypto is the Wild West. Now they had proof. In America, The SEC under Chair Gensler went on the offensive. They sued Coinbase, Binance, Kraken, charges selling unregistered securities. The message was clear: comply or close. Europe passed MiCA markets in crypto assets, reserve requirements for stablecoin issuers, capital requirements for exchanges, transparency rules for DeFi protocols. Effective date 2024. The new age had arrived. South Korea went further. They banned algorithmic stablecoins. Completely illegal. Launch something like UST in Korea, you go to jail. Japan, Singapore, Switzerland followed with similar rules. Regulators worldwide were aligned. But there's a problem. DeFi is anonymous and global. You can ban a protocol in one country, but it reemerges in another. Do Kwon illegal in South Korea? He moves to Serbia. Crypto always stays one step ahead. Regulation always lags behind. Still, Luna was a turning point. Regulators could no longer turn a blind eye. Too many people were hurt. Too much money was lost. New rules were coming, whether you liked it or not. Luna's collapse is an economics textbook. Lesson 1: Ponzi's always collapse. Anchor's 20% was unsustainable. Everyone knew, but everyone bought in. When the music stopped, the chairs were gone. Lesson 2: Arbitrage doesn't solve every problem. Do's algorithm was elegant math, but it didn't account for human behavior, panic, herd mentality. Once collapse began, arbitrage accelerated it, didn't slow it. Lesson 3: Collateral matters. Tether and USDC work for a reason: reserves. $1 in a bank vault for every token. Boring but safe. Do wanted pure math, but math doesn't stay pure. The real world is messy. Lesson 4: Leadership matters. Do's arrogant tweets set the culture. You can't build a healthy ecosystem around stay poor. Humility, listening, willingness to correct course. Do did none of these. Lesson 5: Diversification matters. People who put their entire fortune in one token lost it all. People who put 50% lost half. Investing 101. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. But during euphoria, everyone forgets. Some ask, could it have been saved? If LFG bought more Bitcoin? 10 billion, 20 billion? Theoretically, maybe, but practically probably not, because the problem was trust. Once trust is gone, money doesn't bring it back. Others ask, what if Do acted differently? Apologized, admitted flaws, offered to work with investors? Maybe the legal consequences would be lighter. Maybe public opinion would soften. But a proud man rarely bends. A third asks, what if UST's usage was real? Not just anchor speculators, real people paying for coffee with UST? Maybe it would have been more stable. But chai usage was tiny. 90% of UST was in anchor. That wasn't a use case, it was a Ponzi. The truth is, Luna was broken from the start. The design was flawed. The incentives were misaligned. The execution was full of hubris. Collapse was inevitable. Only the timing was uncertain. May 2022 was coincidence, but sooner or later it would have happened. So where does crypto go after Luna? Some say it's dead. A scam, a sandbox. Regulators will kill it. But look at history. The dot-com bust in 2000. Hundreds of companies died. But Amazon, Google, eBay survived. They emerged stronger. Crypto is the same. Weak projects will die. Luna, Celsius, 3 Arrows, FTX. But Bitcoin survives. Ethereum survives. Real use cases survive. The crash separates wheat from chaff. The new wave will be different. Less hype, more utility. Less number go up, more what does this solve? Less anonymous founders, more regulated companies. Boring but sustainable. Stablecoins will stay, but algorithmics will go. USDC, USDT, maybe CBDCs. Central bank digital currencies. Based on reserves, not math. DeFi will stay, but more regulated. KYC, AML, taxes. The excitement decreases, but legitimacy increases. And Do Kwon, a footnote in history. In 2040, Stanford students will be taught an example of how algorithmic stablecoins fail. A cautionary tale about hubris, overconfidence in mathematics, and the dangers of ignoring human nature. The Luna Terra story began on May 7, 2022, and ended on May 13. 6 days. In 6 days, 60 billion vanished. Lives were ruined. Trust was shattered, and the crypto world was forever changed. The story where $1 million turned into $1,000 overnight. The story where 20% yields were unsustainable. The story where math didn't solve every problem. The story where arrogance had a price. Main lessons. First, if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. 20% APY, no reserves? Red flag. Do your own due diligence. Don't trust blindly. Second, diversify. Don't put everything in a single asset. Don't put everything in a single sector. Don't invest what you can't afford to lose. Third, watch the leaders. Do's tweets were full of warning signs. Arrogance, mockery, lack of apology. Red flags. Attitudes matter. Fourth, understand history. Algorithmic stablecoins failed before. Iron finance, basis cash. Luna followed the same pattern. Learn from previous failures. Fifth, manage risk. Set stop-loss orders. Take profits. Don't let greed blind you. There's always another opportunity tomorrow. Final word. Do Kwon sits in a prison cell awaiting extradition. Luna holders have worthless tokens in their wallets. Anchor depositors lick their wounds. And the crypto world tries to move forward. The story doesn't end here. Do's trial will last years. Regulatory fallout will last decades. Victims will never fully recover. But the lessons are permanent. The day $1 million turned into $1,000 overnight was one of the fastest wealth destructions in financial history. But it's not just about numbers. It's about people, dreams, futures. And those don't come back. Do Kwon was a visionary or a fraud, a genius or a fool. History will decide. But for now, the legacy is clear. A warning. That some algorithms are too clever for their own good. That some promises are too good to keep. And that an empire built by an arrogant man can be less stable than a castle made of sand. Luna's lesson is simple. Not everything that glitters is gold. And sometimes $1 million is just worth 1,000.